like kind of how I felt when I read the Harry Potter universe for the first time. And you start out in a funeral. So that's sad. It's exactly what I thought it was gonna be. But no, this was very spicy. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the video where I read your 5-star reads. I ended up putting a post on Instagram and on YouTube here to basically get a bunch of recommendations from you guys that are like some of the most recent reads that you guys have read that you really loved, or some of your like God tier 5-star reads that you think I need to read before I die. Some that I have never heard of before, some that I actually have already had on my radar. I'm really excited. We're just gonna pick as the weeks go on. I'm gonna basically just pick from the recommendations based off of what mood I'm in. Yeah, we've already picked our first book. This recommendation came from, I think, Instagram. I've seen a lot of Discord about this book going around recently, The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, and this is by Beth Brower. I was so confused about what this book or the series of books were really and truly about, so I did a little bit of research on it, and it's basically just a fiction novel that is written in the perspective of, I guess, Emma M. Lyon in her journal entries, and so I'm really excited for it. I've heard that the character is very witty, very funny and outspoken, and we love an outspoken character like that. It's just some of my favorite characters. I'm excited to dive into this. It's a very short book, and this was a recommendation from Instagram. Thank you so much for this recommendation because I was already hoping to be able to get to this book soon-ish, and so yeah, this gave me all the more reason to dive into it. This is gonna be the first book that we read in this video, and then we will pick the next few books. I have no idea how many I'm gonna read in this video. It depends on how long it takes me to film this. If I had to guess, we're probably gonna read anywhere from maybe 3 to 5 books. It is Monday, May 11th, and it is 8 p.m. Tomorrow when I go on my WALK with Hachi tomorrow morning, I'm going to actually start this on audio because I did have the audiobook, and I'm going to listen to this on our WALK around the town of Austin. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start it there, see how far we can get into it, and then probably honestly try and finish it tomorrow depending on how well I'm liking it. I will see you guys in the morning bright and early. I have high expectations for this book, which can be dangerous, but that can also be a good thing. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll see you in the morning. If you guys ever come to Texas, I don't know if you'll be able to see because of the glare, but this place is called Noble Joe's Coffee. Very good. Very good. And they have like a couple locations. It's like one of my favorite places to stop, but there's always a line on the weekends. We walked for just about 2 hours. It was 6 miles, which is quite a long time actually. If we go early in the morning, it's not as hot, and so Hachi, it's fine, but it's already like starting to get too warm outside, and it's only 10 in the morning. I'm freezing cold. Can you see? Goosebumps? I need a jacket. 1 second. It actually gets really cold in this apartment despite having all of the windows and the sun coming in. Like I was expecting it to be like always warm in here because the sun's always come in, but it's like actually always cold. Okay, but anyways, we finished the first book already in this video, which I think is kind of cool. Listen to this entire thing on our walk. So like I said, we walked for 2 hours. The entire audiobook length for this is 3 hours, and I usually listen on like 1.5, sometimes 2 speed, just depending on how like complex the book is, but I didn't actually realize how short this was. It's only 106 pages. I guess it makes sense because I could have read this in like 1 sitting. Such a fun, just honestly, like, I don't know, fun, lighthearted read. I really liked it. I don't think it was anything that's gonna like blow your mind or like change the way you think about the world or anything like that. But I definitely can see why so many people really like this series. I think it's definitely very charming, and our female main character was just like sweet. I'm pretty sure she's just a 13-year-old girl who is orphaned, and she basically is like sent off to live with her aunt and her cousin, and there's like a little rivalry there between her cousin and her. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's not going to change like the way you think about the world, like I said. It's not anything that's going to like, you know, be anything crazy, but it was exactly what I think it was supposed to be. And it does kind of give me like Anne of Green Gables type of vibe. Like if that is a book that you really liked, or those types of vibes and feelings that you like, I think you would really, really love this. It was very charming. Super easy. First book checked off for this video. I do actually have a package here that we can open while I talk. Well, let me open it first and then I'll talk. I ordered a new water bottle. I wanted to try the water bottle. I have like their coffee mugs and stuff like that, and I like the handle. So I got that, and then I got my toothbrushes. Anyways, it's my little haul of the day. And you know what else? This is unrelated to this video topic, but I completely forgot that Broken Dove, the sequel to Silver Elite, came out today and is getting delivered today. So that's a contender for a book to read this month, and I completely forgot about it. I'm very bad at keeping up with new releases unless it's something that, I don't know, it's like an ongoing series for me or something. I think I've done enough talking. I think what I'm gonna do is just catch you guys when it's time to pick our next read for this video. There are so many options, like I said, and I own 1 or 2 of them already, which could be a good idea to pick those, but I also have 2 or 3 holds at the library right now for the other options. So I'm hoping that the holds come in soon. There's like, I think I'm number 3rd in line for one of them. And I honestly have no problem just like going to the bookstore and buying the book either. So I don't know, we'll see what happens, but I will catch you guys in the next clip whenever it's time to pick our next book. I just got the notification that my library hold is ready to be picked up. I'm also gonna look around for a couple of the other options that you guys recommended. If we can find them, we can at least have them on hand to pick. I haven't been to this library in a while. I've just been doing a lot of like online digital holds. So I'm excited to go in and just like be in there and feel the vibes. It's always so cozy in there. All right, let's go. It is definitely a few days later since we have last spoken. It is now Saturday, May 16th. I showed you guys going to the library and we picked up the next book for this video. This is called Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Mia Sheridan. I don't think I've ever read anything by her before. I used to own this book actually and unhauled this, I want to say like 2 years ago, a couple years ago, because I had it for a really long time and I never read it. But this was a recommendation by her handle's called Own Your Bold, and she gave 3 really good recommendations actually. The first one was Lolita, which I do actually really want to read that book. That's a classic and I want to save that for another day. Archer's Voice, and then Vile Boys, which also sounds like it could be really good. Went ahead and decided to go with Archer's Voice because I had it on my like mental TBR for such a long time. I felt like this is kind of just like the perfect time to finally see what it's all about, because I know that this was really popular and a lot of people really adore this book, and I've seen just like people sobbing to the end of this book. So I've been very curious, hence why I had bought it at one point. But yeah, so I am already about halfway through this book. This book is addicting. This is like a bag of potato chips that I can't stop eating. Like, it is so addicting. And I have just been having a really fun time. Our male main character, he can't speak, so he uses like sign language and stuff. And our female main character, she is basically like moving away from her old life and moving away from her past to a small town to kind of like escape her past. And then she meets this guy who's like a little mysterious, quiet. There's already a lot of like small town drama going on. I am really enjoying the romance. This is just a classic romance with all the like butterflies and stuff. And it's kind of cool because the female main character is a little bit older, it seems like, and maybe she's not. I actually don't know how old she is, but she thinks in like a more mature way. It sounds like she's been through a lot. It is nothing super crazy right now, and it seems like it's gonna be a little predictable, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting this to change the world or anything, but I'm having a really good time. So I'm definitely glad that I picked this up, and I was able to find it at the library, which is really cool. So I still have a couple other holds at the library, so we'll see if those come in or not. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on where we're at so far, about halfway through. And if I had to guess, I'll probably finish this, if not tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. So maybe like Monday, we'll see. So I finished Archer's Voice today. I went and filmed an Antique With Me or like Thrift With Me vlog today, and I had like an hour drive to get there. So I only had 30 pages left of this. So I decided just to listen to the last 30 pages, which ended up being kind of the most dramatic 30 pages. Overall, I liked this book. I had a fun time. It made me feel giddy. It was definitely more like lustful and like contemporary romance than I thought it was gonna be. I truly thought this was more of like a literary fiction or like a general fiction with a subplot of romance, but no. This was very spicy. It was very like lustful romance, which is fine, but that's just not like what I was expecting. Not really the kind of genre that I read a lot anymore, but I did enjoy it. I really love like the disability representation. I feel like she did a good job with that, and I definitely fell in love with our characters. I thought it could be on the side of like a little insta-lovey in my opinion, but like I think I said earlier, this is just a contemporary romance that's not supposed to change the world, and it's not going to, but it was definitely a very good time, very entertaining. For sure, I would recommend it to somebody who really loves like their contemporary romances and stuff. I think this is definitely one that's a little bit more on the unique side, just because it's got kind of thrillery vibes. It definitely has elements of interest outside of just the romance. So yeah, Archer's Voice done for this video, and now I need to pick the next book, and I don't know which one I'm gonna pick. I have so many recommendations that it almost makes it hard. One that's really standing out to me is from Read with Ag, my girl over on Instagram, and she recommended The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay, I think is how you say the author's last name. And I read the back of this book when I was at Book People the other day, and it sounds really good. Like, it sounds like something that's kind of tear at your heartstrings a little bit. It's during like an era that I don't feel like I've read a whole lot about, so that interests me a lot. And I've never read anything by this author as far as I know, and I just know that she's raved about this book, so I'm really excited to read that one. The only thing is, I just checked and I'm still like number 2 in line at the library, so I think what I'm gonna do is maybe wait a few more days and see if it ends up coming through. It kind of just depends on like how fast these people are reading and then if they're gonna bring the book back right away. That's gonna be the next book that we read in this video. I will see you guys whenever I have started the book and have an opinion. It has been a few days since I last talked to you guys, like quite a few days. Definitely not over a week, but at least 4 or 5 days since I last updated you guys. And part of that was because I have family in town, or had family in town over the weekend. But I also had been kind of holding out for that library hold to come in, and it just wasn't coming in. So I ended up starting another recommendation by Books and Mo, I believe is who recommended this on YouTube, and this is Strange to Dreamer by, I think it's Laini Taylor. I always wanted to say Lonnie Taylor, but I think it's Laini Taylor. I started this kind of slowly over the weekend just to be reading something while I waited for that hold to come in, and I am really, really loving this book so much, actually. I'm on page 202, which I think is like a part of part 3 in the book, and honestly I'm just having like such a magical, nostalgic feeling time with this book, and I'm not really sure why it feels so nostalgic, but I think it's just like giving me the feelings of like kind of how I felt when I read the Harry Potter universe for the first time. And that is such a special feeling that is so rare, I feel like, to find, especially as like an avid reader that's been reading for a while. Like finding a book that gives you that feeling is so special. And I think it's just because, one, the author's prose is just absolutely beautiful. She definitely has really poetic, flowy writing style, but also just our main character, they call him Laszlo the Dreamer. And I just feel like I'm just kind of riding on his mindset of just anything and everything is possible. He believes in magic when nobody else really does. And he's been like researching this lost city that's only found or mentioned in magical fairy tale books, but he's like a firm believer that it's real. And he's basically spent his entire like early teenage years like researching and writing about this lost city. I think, yeah, just like kind of writing on his feelings about it and stuff is just making it really special, and her writing style makes it really easy to like, I don't know, like be right there along with him. And I'm just really, really loving it. I'm having a great time. I could probably sit down and devour this entire book in one sitting. It's just that good, but I've kind of been like slowly getting through it just with like family in town and stuff, not having a whole bunch of time to read. I'm loving this book. This could easily be like a 5-star to one of those like forever books on my shelf, so we'll see. I'm really, really excited to keep going. And I know that there's a second book, and I'm curious like what that second book actually entails, like if it follows the same character or if it just continues the story. I don't know, but I'll probably just update you guys when I finish this. And then I did actually get a notification yesterday that The Great Believers is actually ready to be picked up now at the library, so we could probably take another library trip today or tomorrow and go pick up that book, and then by that time hopefully I'll be mostly done with this. Yeah, I think that's the plan right now. We had a really fun time over the weekend. We really did a whole lot of like shopping and just hung out together. Didn't really do anything too crazy, which is like totally my speed. And today and probably the rest of the week I'm just gonna be like catching up on household work and laundry and just cleaning up and stuff around here, and I'll just catch up with you guys whenever I have more of an update on Strange the Dreamer. I'm on page 310 now of Strange, and I'm reading this part where he's like talking about this girl that he's met, and I can't say too much because I'm like almost, you know, through the book, but it is just so cute how he's talking about her. Like the way that he's describing her is like the cutest thing in the whole world. It's so innocent and sweet, and honestly, like there's a quote in here that I would get tattooed on my arm. So yeah, that's where we're at. We've been sitting here for a while. I'd say it's probably been about a few hours actually. It's 5:45 now, so I'm thoroughly enjoying this book. It's so good. Welcome to my kitchen. I have been cooking some dinner and I wanted to show you first this bottle of wine. It's called The Lost Chapter. Is that not cool? I just saw this at HEB the other day. It's a Cabernet Franc, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean, like what kind of wine that is, but I'm gonna try it, needless to say. And while I open this bottle of wine, I wanted to talk to you guys and give you an update on my reading. So I finished Strange the Dreamer yesterday morning or last night. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. Anyways, I finished Strange the Dreamer. I adore that book with my whole heart, and I am very, very sad that I have waited this long yet again to read an incredible book like that that's been sitting on my shelf for, no joke, like 3 years. I bought that back in North Carolina, like before, that was like one of the first books that I bought. So what I really loved about it, I've already kind of talked a little bit about the feelings that I was getting while I was reading that book, how nostalgic it was feeling. And it really just, I don't know, it was really cool watching Laszlo Strange, our protagonist, our male main character, grow up and kind of like come into himself. And by the end of the book, things got wild. Like, it was a little predictable, but I kind of just credit that to it being a YA fantasy. Like, a lot of, or all the plot twists I kind of saw coming, except for the fact that I completely forgot about the epigraph or the prologue that you get in the very beginning of this book. Completely forgot about that. And if you've read this book, you understand what I'm hinting at. And when I finished that book, I was distraught. And I immediately went and I ended up having to order the book online because for whatever reason, none of my bookstores carry the second book in store. So yeah, anyways, I finished it, immediately ordered the second book because I'm gonna have to read that like as soon as it comes in. But yeah, I love this book. So charming, so whimsical. Just, I don't even know if there are words to like describe it. Like, it was just whimsical. And the yearning that was between our two main characters was just absolutely beautiful. And they just get to know each other on such a deep level. And I just thought it was like beautiful and beautifully written and young love. And just like our characters were just so lovable, all of them. And you have like a really well-written villain, in my opinion. Like, I dislike her very much. And yeah, I don't know. I just really love the way that she writes, and I'm very curious about her other series now. Her other, I believe it's probably a YA series, Smoke and Bone or something like that. So yeah, who knew? I finished that. I'm going to read Muse of Nightmares whenever that comes in. And then I did start The Great Believers this morning, I think is when I started this. And I have been listening to it throughout the day a little bit while I've been doing things around the house and painting, and I've been thoroughly enjoying my time so far, although it is based off of a very sad time and you start out in a funeral. So that's sad, but I know that is going to just basically carry on through the book and carry me as a reader and make me honestly probably fall really deeply in love with these characters and feel for their story. And this is following a group of friends that are within the gay community, mainly guys, and there's a sister of one of the guys who ends up passing away from the AIDS epidemic. And so this is following that group of friends as they're kind of like, as the AIDS epidemic is really popping up and becoming prominent during the time. I think it's in the 80s. During that time, there hasn't been a lot of research. It's still very shunned. And basically blatantly ignored, and I foresee us going through a lot of their struggles and watching that happen and it being really traumatic and sad and heartbreaking, but eye-opening at the same time. And so far I'm loving our characters. They're just like really real and raw human beings, and you're just like kind of seeing their like flaws and stuff, but loving them all the same, and just feeling their fear when it comes to this unknown illness that nobody really has explored or talked about, and the fear of the unknown. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. Although, like I said, it is a bit sad. So we're popping back and forth between 1985 and 2015. So every other chapter, you're going back and forth between those years, and I'm assuming eventually it's all gonna kind of like coincide and you're gonna understand fully like what is going on in the current timeline. Really excited about this book and finishing this. I'm not gonna lie, like this was not on my radar like at all, but I'm really glad that she recommended this because I think it's gonna be a book that I'm really gonna love, and a book, like I said, that hasn't been on my radar, but something that I feel like I really know not a whole lot about, and it would be, I don't know, just like really good for me to like read this and learn a little bit about such a prominent part of our history and an important part in some people's lives. So I'm excited. I will tell you guys a little bit more once I get further into it. Probably about 100 pages in now, and I'm going to continue reading this throughout the week and hopefully finish it by the weekend. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but my little wine stopper always reminds me so much of Terracin. I love it. I think I got this at like Target or something random one year. It's supposed to be like a Christmas one, but I just think of Aelin and Terracin every time I see it. So good morning, guys. It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June 9th, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I have been slowly editing this video this morning. I worked yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. So I've been very tired, but I did want to talk to you guys because I did end up finishing The Great Believers. And wow, was this book sad. Very sad, very heartfelt book that is just following a group of friends who are struggling, basically watching their close friends, basically their family, like struggle through this AIDS disease, and during a time where it's not widely talked about. You know, there's no really research or anything on the disease, and nobody is really talking about it, and there's a lot of homophobia going on in the world, and it just makes things all that much harder. And it's really interesting because I really enjoy the format because you do go back and forth between timelines. You're going back and forth between 1980s and 2015, which is present day, and each timeline is following a different person. And so you've got these two separate storylines kind of going, but parallel to each other essentially. And I don't know, you just get to explore a lot of different things and a lot of things that were very pertinent during the time. And you just like grow so close to the characters in this book and feel for them so hard. And there's a lot of loss, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of like working through trauma, and there's even like a mother-daughter aspect, like a mother-daughter relationship aspect. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I would highly recommend this to anybody. And I'm really happy that Ag brought this up and recommended this book, because I probably would not have picked this up if I'm being honest. It just wasn't really on my radar, at least at the moment. And so I'm really glad and happy that I did read this. That is the last book I'm gonna read in this video. I read these 4 pretty amazing books in this video. All of these were very solid reads, and I think my favorite definitely has to be Strange the Dreamer. I mean, Strange the Dreamer, that one was just top tier book for me. I think it was the right time for me to read this book because I was just like really in the mood for a fantasy, and it was just a really cute, beautifully written fantasy. And then Archer's Voice and the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. These are just really fun books. So I am super happy with all of these recommendations and all these reads from you guys. You guys are amazing and you have insane taste, and I had so much fun kind of like picking your brains and like getting what you guys love to read. So if you guys liked this video or this concept, definitely let me know, and I will maybe think about doing this again in the future and maybe making it a little series. Yeah, I hope you guys have had a wonderful week and weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video next Saturday. Bye guys.